Alright, Windows 365 Link is a thing now. It was announced at Ignite this week. I think it looks kind of cool, so I thought I'd make a short video on it. Of course, most of what we know about this is based on Microsoft's marketing materials, but I'll try to, pierce the veil a bit, so to speak. Now, the Windows 365 Link is a physical PC. It is very specific in what it's made for. It's just for connecting to your Windows 365 Cloud PC. Be it a Windows 365 Business, Enterprise, or Frontline one. Windows 365 Government is not going to be supported from launch. Also, AVD, DevBox, not going to be supported either. So that is, pretty much the purpose-built part from the marketing spiels. It runs a specialized flavor of Windows that has been stripped down to the bare minimum. You cannot log into the local operating system, install any apps on it, or, anything like that. Any management of the device can only be done through Intune, and even there's only so much you can do. This means that it's more secure out of the box. No local user accounts means that there are none to be compromised, and no option to install local software means no way to install malware. Your cloud PC can still be compromised, of course, but, that's another story. Now, I do assume that you're familiar with Windows 365 and how cloud PCs work, by the way. But if you're not, I have a whole series of videos on Windows 365. I did a 45-minute live stream on it a while ago, and there's also a neat little learning path on Learn For You. Links to all of this is, of course, in the description of this video, and, while you're peeking down there, make sure to hit that like button and the subscribe button. It does help me out a lot. But moving along. Even though there's not a whole lot you can do to the local parts of the Windows 365 Link, you can still use stuff like FIDO keys to log into your cloud PCs from the Link. As you might expect, you can also connect all sorts of peripherals that can then be used within your cloud PC. Stuff like headsets, webcams, and so on. It has a USB port and a headphone jack in the front, and it has in the back two more USB ports, a USB Type-C port, Ethernet, HDMI display port, as well as a port for the power supply. In addition to the physical ports, it also has Bluetooth and Wi-Fi 6E. Now, it only has a single HDMI port and a single display port, but it does support dual monitors at 4K resolution. That would mean, though, that you would have to use HDMI on one monitor and DisplayPort on the other. Not necessarily an issue, but something to be aware of. And the Link itself is tiny. I've seen people comparing it to a Mac Mini, but my first thought was actually that it resembles the Apple TV. That may be just because it's black, the Link is black and not silver, but yeah. If we take a look at the numbers, the Link is just a little bit smaller than a Mac Mini, 0.7 centimeters to be exact. But at the same time, it's also a fair bit lower, with its 3 centimeters in height. It also doesn't have any fans, so it should be nice and quiet. If you're into clean desks, then the Link is something you'll like, because this is the type of PC that you mount on the back side of your monitor and combine that with mouse and keyboard connected through Bluetooth, and you can have that crisp, pretty cableless setup, if you will. But while we're on the topic of the physical aspects, ports and so on, one thing that caught my eye was that, according to Microsoft, the Link does not support use with a dock. Now, I really like connecting my laptop through USB-C to a monitor that then has other stuff connected to it, because, it's neat to only have that one cable. Just what Microsoft defines as a dock in this case is something I'm curious about, and I've found no answer yet. Does this mean that the USB-C port on the back is only for connecting one thing to? Who knows? I also find it kind of odd that it's not powered through USB-C, especially given that the included power supply is only rated at 65 watts. But moving along from the physical aspects of the Link, let's take a look at the security features. Now, Microsoft states that it's designed for security from the ground up. It has security baseline policies that are enabled by default, and that its security features cannot be disabled, which, you know, all sounds nice. It does have a TPM chip, it has secure boot, it has BitLocker for drive encryption, hypervisor code integrity, and Defender EDR stuff. Since the local OS, which is named Windows CPC by the way, is pretty much nothing you really can fiddle with, the attack surface of the device itself is reduced. But like I mentioned earlier, the cloud PC can still be compromised no matter how secure the device you're connecting from is. And while we're on the security stuff, before you can start rolling out linked devices all across your organizations, there's a couple of things you should know. First thing is that when a user signs in on the Link device, they are authenticated against the device registration service. I know, sounds kind of weird, right? But this means that if you want conditional access policies to enforce MFA when signing in from a Link device, you need a policy that enforces MFA on the user action to register or join devices. You should perhaps also consider your enrollment restrictions and make sure that you don't block personally owned devices, if that's the thing you do, since that would block the sign-in from a new out-of-the-box Link device. They are not sent to company-owned until after the Intune enrollment completes, so a policy that blocks personally owned devices would effectively block Link devices as well. At least, you know, the first sign in on a fresh and new Link device. A third thing is that the Link, it does not support a single sign-on consent prompt. You know, that prompt is shown to a user every 30 days or whenever a cloud PC is freshly provisioned. And since the Link does not support that prompt, make sure you suppress it. Otherwise, the only way for a user to sign in would be to do so from any other device that supports that prompt. Then afterwards, of course, they could use their Link to sign in. But as for the user experience with Link, well, it's pretty much the same as if you had them use a device that's been set up with Windows 365 boot. Microsoft does brag about it being optimized for video conferencing, that it provides a smooth, high-fidelity experience when it comes to multimedia, and so on. But if you've done your part in terms of setting up Teams optimizations, multimedia redirection, short path, and those kind of things, then this should all be the same, whether using a Link or any other device to connect to your cloud PC. So, to round this video off, here are my 2 cents. I like it. It does look like it fits the use cases that it was designed for. I like the fact that we now have a thin client option that doesn't need a third-party management thing, but it is still a thin client. So if you've already ruled those out, then this device will probably not change your mind. It does have most of the drawbacks that any other thin client has. But it is pretty though, I'll give them that. Now, what do you think about this new device? Leave your thoughts down in the comments or just leave an emoji. Engagement helps, you know, me, the channel, the video. It helps out a lot. So, but yeah, all right, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.